The number one question I get is, what happened to Blunted? When is the next episode? Where is Blunted? So, I figured I would make a series on this podcast titled, What Happened to Blunted? It is going to be, this is part one, so it's going to be like a mini series. The mini-series of What Happened to Blunted. But yes, welcome back. Welcome back to Blunt Talk with Daily Bong. I am, that guy. I'm Daily Bong. You can call me Kyle. This is episode 3. Thanks for coming back, my 4 viewers. It means so much to me. But yes, if you are new or haven't subscribed or all that shit, go hit that subscribe button. This is the only YouTube-y shit that I'm going to do this whole podcast. So yes, go hit the subscribe button. And if you like it, hit that thumbs up because it makes me feel good. So let's just jump right into this. A man with two glasses of water. So classy. Anyways, so Blunted. What happened to Blunted? So I'm going to take you back to how Blunted started, and then kind of tell you what the journey of it, and then what happened to it. So Blunted all came about because I wanted to do a show on YouTube that, I guess was just like, I wanted to be like content. I wanted to be something entertaining, like a show that you would watch on TV. So I came up with many, I guess, ideals, but when it came down to it, it didn't really pan out to what I thought it was. But then it Blunted came to. Let's explain. So I had this idea where I would put people in a room and kind of just like have this circle light and put this camera on them, hand them a joint, and then just record and then walk away, and like whatever they said or whatever, that would be what it is. And I would call it Blunted. And I figured once I thought about it and said it out loud, it just didn't go anywhere. Then my next one was I'm going to have them react to videos that I'm going to show them as they smoke a joint. And that was the whole concept. And I had the first episode of Blunted, everyone on that episode, they were actually on their way over. And as they're on their way over, I started I typed it in. I was like, stoners reacting to YouTube videos. And there was like a channel that was already doing that. So I was like, I can't fucking do that. So as they were driving, they were literally like 20 minutes away, I just started writing questions down, like random stupid ass questions. And like one of the questions, the famous question was ice cream or anal? And this was all thought of within like 15 minutes. Once they got there, when they were pulling up, I just finished writing the last question. Believe it or not, I think the third question was ice cream or anal. So I had my buddy Leo. I'm blanking out. I don't know who I had on the first episode, but I know it was Leo, and I believe it was I believe it was I know Mel Damien was on it. I'm not too sure, but yes, everyone on the first episode was at my house, at my parents' house. I was living at my parents' house at a time. So we were smoking weed in my parents' house upstairs in the room that I grew up in. And it's funny because there was so many times where I had to edit out parts in the video where you could hear like my mom like outside the room spraying like Febreze. It was really funny. So anyway, that is how it was. That's how it was brought up. My buddies came over, the ones that were willing to. I pretty much had my friends on the first season of Blunted. So yes, I filmed the first season pretty much at my parents' house. Every other week I would have people come over, random, like people that never been over my house before. They would come in, they would say hi to my parents, and 2 minutes later they're upstairs smoking weed. It was pretty intense. And my mom she did not enjoy this at all. It was not something that she wanted. So season 1 wrapped. And then I started DMing everyone, a bunch of like bigger people, everyone that lived in Colorado, California. I was planning on traveling and staying there for a week in Colorado, filming, and then filming in California. So I pretty much DM'd everybody with this like little schedule and asking them if they want to be on the show, sending them a link to the show, and I found out that no one watched it. They all just said yes, whatever, and I don't know if they thought like they just like, oh yeah, I'll say yes. This guy's never going to show up. I showed up. And I definitely showed up, and so season 2 was pretty much filmed with me staying at random people's houses that would just invite me over from Instagram. And they're like, oh, you're filming. Why you film? Come over here. And it's pretty crazy because most of those people that reached out to me, I'm still friends with today, and we have a great relationship. So it was kind of cool to see how that happened. But yeah. So here I am filming in people's houses these episodes of people smoking weed, and so I ended up getting like everyone that I wanted. I ended up getting Dabbing Granny, which made the season pop for sure. I ended up getting everyone that I wanted. If you know about Blend, or if you've seen Blend, then you know I got a lot of people on season 2. I kind of feel like I'm like skipping so much that I'm not giving detail. I feel like there's so much detail I could be giving right now. But yeah, so season 2 went well. Like none of these were huge videos. I never had like videos that got millions of views. My channel never like blew up. It wasn't anything crazy, but it was successful to me because I was doing something that no one was doing. Everyone was blowing smoke in the camera, and I don't know what the fuck they were doing, but I didn't really want to do that. I always saw like a different vision. My whole life, I always wanted to be a director and a writer, and this was my thing. Like this was a way of doing that kind of. And I got to make a show. Like, so my whole thing was like, remember like that 70s show where, not that 70s show, where, what is it called? I love the 80s where they would like talk about certain things and they would keep going back and forth to the people, the guests on the show talking about it. That's where I kind of thought about, that's how I came up with the idea of Blunted. Like I would ask questions and go back and forth. And my goal was to just do it. And it went from no viewers to a little bit of viewers to a little bit more. And then I got the porn stars on. And that was like that's my biggest video of Blunted to date, was the porn star episode. Shout out to Uma Jolie and shout out to Veronica Rodriguez. Super nice, super professional. They were the only ones that were on time. only ones that were on time and ready to go. But super, super cool. But yeah, they blew up that episode. And it was cool. It was cool to see the power of what that could be. So yeah, feel like I'm skipping so much. There's so much to say. All right, so let's get into meeting Dabbing Granny. Meeting Dabbing Granny. So I reached I a couple that I interviewed. They knew Dabbing Granny. The couple is what was her name? The Traveling Stoner, and she knew Dabbing Granny, asked her to be on it, and she said yes, and it was really cool, and she ended up introducing me to a lot of people, so it wasn't just Dabbing Granny, but Dabbing Granny at the time, I don't know where she is now, but at the time was a very big deal for some fucking reason, and I knew I needed to have her on the show. So she was also a big catch for season 2. So meeting Dabbing Granny, I met her at my at my buddy's house I was staying at, and she was nice. She was definitely had more energy than any old person I ever saw. Like, so much energy, and she was super nice. Interviewing her was fun. She took it seriously. She was very charismatic on the camera, and yeah, she was just cool. I had no problems with her whatsoever. She was cool. Then, what was it? I got invited to a party in Vegas. Very fun stuff. By Mary's motivation, Brett. We actually became really, really good friends. We're still friends today. Talk all the time. And he's a good guy. But it was his party, and he invited me out there. And that's when I really started hanging out with Dabbing Granny. That's when I really started hanging out with everyone, really. Like, I met Ty, my buddy Ty, which ended up was funny because I met him, but maybe like 6 months later, I ended up living with him, which is so strange because, like, in any other world, we probably wouldn't even cross paths. But this whole thing brought us together, and we're still friends today, and it's a very cool thing. But so anyways, I got invited to this huge party. And it was like this, like a 5-bedroom house, like a 4. It wasn't that big, but it was like a really cool, like a maybe 4-bedroom house. It had like a very big pool, had a nice big layout. But he ended up having like, I don't know, like 100, maybe 200 people coming to this party. It was big, but it had big names. Josh from Raw, the owner of Raw, was there, and I was in charge of Weed Humor's, Brett was in charge of Weed Humor's Snapchat, but gave me his phone, so I was in charge of the Snapchat. And I was also doing my Snapchat. So I had 2 phones all night just going. And there was a moment where we were all smoking like huge fucking blunts that were all like these weird shapes and planes and all that. And Josh was like right next to me. And they passed him the blunt, and he didn't fucking smoke it or anything, but everyone like turned their cameras and like turned their phones and like pointed at him, and I'm the only one that like did not do that, and he was right next to me, and he saw that. I guess everyone was trying to like catch him like smoking a blunt, and he just like, it was just it was like a plane or some shit, and he just like, passed it on. But then afterwards, like, he said, like, he kind of gave me like a nod, but which was cool. I don't know if he remembers that, but anyways, so yeah, so it was just like really cool party. Got to hang out with Dabbing Granny, became friends. That's when I was invited to move in with a Traveling Stoner and her boyfriend to film season 3 and to make this like a bigger thing. And we were going to film this like show called the Dabbing Granny Show. We were going to it was going to be a whole thing. So I was like, all right, that's awesome. So that is how I ended up moving to Colorado to film season 3. Season 3 is a whole nother beast of its own. Because season 3, it went from like, season 3 went from like no girls. Like on season 1 and 2, there was like a couple girls and then 2 porn stars, and that was it. Season 3, it was like every episode, like there was a whole episode that there was like 8 girls, and every episode there had like 2 or 3, and it just became like a wider, and the audience became wider, and it was fun. I had 2 events for it. I had a premiere for the season 3, and I had a casting call, which was a lot of fun. That was probably one of my favorite episodes filming. Definitely one of my favorite episodes editing, because that was like pure magic. It was just so funny seeing these strangers, and most of them had no idea what the fuck they were doing. Like they didn't know the show or anything. They just came, but it was really neat. It was really it was fun. So season 3, like at this point, now I'm on season 3. It's still not getting views that would bring in money. At this time, season 1, I had no sponsors. I paid for it myself. Well, season 1 was pretty much at home. Season 2, I started paying for it myself, which was like about $4,000 I spent on season 2, just traveling. Then season 3, I got sponsors, and sponsors made everything a little bit trickier. For many reasons. I think I will get into that into part 2. I think maybe we could focus on that. I'm also going to rewatch this and see if I want to go back and some more details, because there's a lot more that I'm missing. I just skipped over 2 seasons. There's a lot that we could discuss and go into. But yeah, so right now we're on season 3. And I'm living there. I'm living in Colorado, and I actually moved on 4/20. Like it was like, I think it was the 19th is when I got there, and 4/20 was like my first day in Colorado, and I had like a job and everything. Like, yeah, it was pretty crazy. I met the guys from Positive Vibes right when I got there. I got linked up with this company called Vi that was doing this huge party that I was filming like on 4/20. It was pretty intense. So that's where we'll leave that off. Yeah. I got so much more. I don't even know if this was a good story. I don't know if it was entertaining. I don't know if it was even interesting. But I got a lot more. I got a lot more coming, a lot more little details. But yes, episode 3, Blunt Talk. So I do have a schedule that hopefully I could stick to. But every Monday around 8 o'clock, every Monday at 8 o'clock, new episode. And Thursday, same time, 8 o'clock, new episode. So you get 2 episodes in 1 week, boy. And so subscribe, tell your friends, tell your mom, tell your grandma. I'm sure she'll love it. I'm going to keep doing this. I am not going to stop. So yeah. Episode 3, Blunt Talk. It's been fun. Part 1 of what happened to Blunted. Part 2. We'll get into a little bit more. I feel like I skipped over so much. Part 2, we got Giddy Up. We got a little bit more of Dabbing Granny. We got how it just I made money. Money was coming in. I got to do the premiere. I got to do the casting call. So we got a lot more. Casting call could literally be one episode. But yes, we are at the 20-minute mark, and I like to keep this short and simple, like your ex-boyfriend, baby. You know what I mean. Anyways, thank you so much for tuning in. Hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up, and I'll see you next Thursday. Boy, Blunt Talk.